সংসার দাবানলীর লোকত্রাণায় কারুণ্য ঘনাঘনত্বং প্রাপ্তস্য কল্যাণ গুণার্ণবস্য বন্দে গুরুশ্রী চরণারবিন্দম। মহাপ্রভো কীর্তন নৃত্য গীত বাদিত্র মর্দন মনসরসে নরমাঞ্চ কম্পাস্তু তরঙ্গ ভাজো বন্দে গুরুশ্রী চরণারবিন্দম। শ্রী বিগ্রহয়ারাধন নিত্য নানা শৃঙ্গার তন্মন্দির মার্জনাদৌ যুক্তস্য ভক্তাংশ্চ নিযুঞ্জতোপি বন্দে গুরুশ্রী চরণারবিন্দম। চতুর্বেদ শ্রী ভগবত প্রসাদ সাদ্দন্ন তৃপ্তান হরিভক্ত সঙ্গান কৃত্যৈব তৃপ্তিং ভজতাং সদৈব বন্দে গুরুশ্রী চরণারবিন্দম। সাক্ষাৎ হরিতেন সমস্ত শাস্ত্রৈরুক্তস্তত ভাগবত এব সদ্ভি কিন্তু প্রভর্য প্রিয় এব তস্য বন্দে গুরুশ্রী চরণারবিন্দম। যস্য প্রসাদাৎ ভগবত প্রসাদো যস্য প্রসাদন্ন গতি কুতোপি ধ্যায়ং স্তুভং স্তস্য যশস্ত্রিসন্নং বন্দে গুরুশ্রী চরণারবিন্দম। ইতি শ্রী শ্রী বিশ্বনাথ চক্রবর্তী ঠাকুর বিরচিত স্তবমৃত লহর্যাং শ্রী শ্রী গুরুবাষ্টকং সম্পূর্ণম। নমো সচ্চিদানন্দ রূপায় ভগবন্तं কৃপার্ণবম প্রেম ভক্তি বিতানার্থং গৌরসভাবতারকং শ্রীমান মদন গোপাল বেশম বৃন্দারণ্য পুরন্দরং শ্রী গোবিন্দং প্রপদ্যেহং দীনানুগ্রহকারকং। অদ্বৈত প্রকটীকৃত নরহরিকৃষ্ণ স্বরূপ প্রিয় নিত্যানন্দ সখ সনাতনগতি শ্রীরূপহৃৎকেতন লক্ষ্মী প্রাণপতির গদাধর রসোল্লাসী জগন্নাথ ভৌ সাঙ্গপাঙ্গ সপার সদসদয়তাং দেব সচিনন্দন। জয়তি পরাশর শুনো সত্যবতী হৃদয়নন্দন ব্যাস যশ্চাস্ত্র গলিতং বাংময়ং মম জীবিতম। নমস্তুতে ব্যাস বিশাল বুদ্ধে ফুল্লারবিন্দায়ত পত্র নেত্র যেন তয়া ভারত তৈলপূর্ণ প্রজ্বালিত জ্ঞানময় প্রদীপ যস্যানুভাবমখিল শ্রুতিসারমেক মধ্যাত্মদীপমতিতিতীর্ষতাং তমন্নম। সংসারিণাং করুণয়াঃ পুরাণগুজ্জং তং ব্যাসসূনৌ মুপজামি গুরুং মুনীনাম। নারায়ণং নমস্কৃত্য নরং চৈব নরোত্তমং দেবীং সরস্বতীং ব্যাসং ততো জয়ো মুদীরয়েৎ। বঞ্চাকল্পতরুভ্যশ্চ কৃপাসিন্ধো ভয়েব চ পতিতানাং পাবনেভ্যো বৈষ্ণবেভ্যো নমো নমঃ। শ্রীরূপ সনাতন ভট্ট রঘুনাথ শ্রীজীব গোপাল ভট্ট দাস রঘুনাথ এই ছয় গোসাইয়ের করি চরণ বন্দন। যাহা হইতে বিঘ্ননাশ অভীষ্ট পূরণ। এই ছয় গোসাই প্রভু মোরে কর দয়া। আমি চরণে শরণ নিলাম দেহ পদচ্ছায়া। এই ছয় গোসাই যবে ব্রজে কইলেন বাস, রাধা কৃষ্ণ নিত্যলীলা করিলেন প্রকাশ। এই ছয় গোসাই যার তার মই দাস, তা সবার পদরেণু মোর পঞ্চগ্রাস। তুলসী কাননং যত্র যত্র পদ্ম বনানি চ, পুরাণ পঠনং যত্র তত্র সন্নিহিত হরি। তত্রৈব গঙ্গা যমুনা চ তত্র, তত্রৈব গোদাবরী সিন্ধু সরস্বতী। সর্বাণি তীর্থানি বসন্তি তত্র, সত্যমেতন্ন সংশয়। আকাশাৎ পতিতং সোয়ং যথা গচ্ছতি সাগরং, সর্বদেব নমস্কৃত্বা কেশবং প্রতিগচ্ছতি। যস্য প্রসাদাৎ অজ্ঞোপি সদ্য সর্বগতাং ব্রজেত, স কৃষ্ণ চৈতন্য দেব ভগবান মে প্রসীদতু। ভগবান মে প্রসীদতু। তস্যারবিন্দ নয়নস্য পদারবিন্দ, কিঞ্জল্পমিশ্র তুলসী মকরন্দ বায়ু। অন্তর্গত সবিবরেণ চকার তেষাং, শঙ্খৌবমক্ষর জুষামোপি চিত্ততন্ন। তুলয়াম লবেনাপি ন স্বর্গং ন পুনর্ভবং, ভগবৎ সঙ্গে সঙ্গস্য মর্ত্যানাং কিমুতাশিষৌ। ওই দীন দয়াদ্রনাথ হে, মথুরানাথ কদা বলক্কসে। হৃদয়ং তদলোককাতরং দ্বৈত ভ্রাম্যতে কিং করম্যহম। Already bearing the benediction of our Godfather, Lord Sriman Mahaprabhu, our Acharyas, and Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. on our head, we got chances to explain or discuss over Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamritam, Bilab Kusumanjali, etc. scriptures. But today I have decided and intended to discuss something over Srimad Bhagavad-gita. It's also a widely reputed and greatly regarded and respected venerable scripture. Loudly beloved by Lord Mahaprabhu and our Acharyas, and also our Gurudeva, etc. It's a marvelous, Gita is a marvelous and wonderful scripture which is infused with a lot of very essential theosophical information. And also it is essential, very essential, to get ourselves acquainted with the message of the scripture. And that is why last night it was supposed to me that I was receiving an inspiration from my Venerable Gurudeva and Mahaprabhu, etc., to explain something over the scripture. You can imagine, and it is not so easy to imagine for a person to understand the idea of Srimad Bhagavad-gita in a precise way without the benediction of Godfather and Lord Krishna, Mahaprabhu and Sarvaswami. This marvelous theosophical scripture contains some wonderful and unprecedented traits, principles, which was never found ever. Such types of some principle is contained in this scripture. First one is, of those principles is prapannata, submissibility. This quality very essential and important at the consideration of Mahaprabhu and Acharyas. Prapannata, submissibility. If any follower pleases to turn himself to a true follower of Lord Mahaprabhu, then he must acquire this quality, submissibility. In Bengali, the term is prapannata. Have you heard this name, prapannata? Submissibility. To consider himself inferior. But in the question of inferiority, he is not at all an inferior person. It is the symbol and signal of submissibility. This is the first information which is found in Gita. Gita first got ourselves acquainted with this marvelous quality. Second principle is bhakti, veneration. This word was never found ever before. Ved, Ved, Veda, Upanishad, Manu Samhita, etc. So many scriptures were lying before the appearance of Gita. But they could not got the people acquainted with this particular word, bhakti. Bhakti and shradda is not equal thing. Shradda is this particular word is known to you, shradda.
Shradda, faith.
Shradda, respect. But there is lying a gulf of distinction between shradda and bhakti. Don't forget it. The maximum power of shradda is that maximum it may send you to the divine as a deity. This is the maximum and final distribution of shradda. Shradda is the final and last word and message of Veda, Upanishad, samhita, etc., etc. As you may try, it will never possible for you to find the name of Radha Krishna in those scriptures. These scriptures maximum may get you introduced to and acquainted to the several types of deities, but not Radha, Krishna, Vrindavan, etc. All these things were totally unfound, uncirculated before Gita. This scripture is the first scripture who has provided us with this mountain-like heavier word, bhakti. Only by dint of the help of shradda, it will never possible for a person to reach to the proximity of Radha Krishna. Only with containing shradda inside your heart, it will never possible for you to take entrance into the Vrindavan-centric sadhana bhajana. Where shradda is the final message of other scriptures, our Vaishnavism only starting from there. Where shradda is ended, from there the way of bhakti has started. So, this scripture, that is Srimad Bhagavatam Gita, is a very important scripture. And third, I wrote down last night. In Bengali, which is going to be said, that is called avatara-vad, incarnationism, incarnation. It was never found, this word and a concept of this thing before Gita. Before the appearance of Gita on the earth, incarnation, this name and the conception of this world, that really what is incarnation?
Kumkum. This word avatar, incarnation, is it mean the incarnation of the jiva or the avatar of Krishna when he comes to earth?
Incarnation is always granted by and generated by supreme authority of the universe.
Yes, but you mean the incarnation of the jiva, that the jiva, he is in the samsara and he dies and he borns again.
Just you are trying to know whether is it applicable in the case of jiva. Incarnationism. Just I am trying to know from you that what is the type of your curiosity. Are you trying to know that whether even a jeep can assume the a figure of incarnation? It is your question?
Yes, because in English we use this word incarnation only for jiva, and avatar we use this word only for Bhagavan.
Somewhat difference.
Yeah, therefore I ask.
I'm trying to clarify you.
Okay.
Incarnation means the appearance of a part of Lord Krishna.
Then it's not called incarnation in English, then it's called avatar. Because incarnation means karna, means flesh. It means incarnation means the soul goes again in the flesh. But this is not Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, he steps down. It's called avatar in English.
Have you directly found yourself this message that a jeev is also capable of assuming the figure of incarnation? Have you directly found it in Bhagavatam?
No, this is in Bhagavad-gita, 2nd chapter, that the soul, after death, he takes a new body. And this is called incarnation.
It will never be possible for you to prove, taking the help of Srimad Bhagavatam, Gita, etc. scriptures, that jeev is also qualified to be incarnation. One thing might be happen, that is a greatest follower in this universe, like Vedavyasa. He was a he was an incarnation of God. But how this how this incarnation is made, first you have to get yourself acquainted with these messages. Suppose...
No, I understand you. I understand this concept, but it's just in English we use different words as you use now. Therefore I asking, but now I understand. I understand the concept.
In spite of that, just I'm trying to give you some brief idea. Suppose here is lying a fireplace, suppose, and herein is lying a ball made of iron. These two things are different from each other in many ways. If you touch it or go to the side of it, it will give you a inflammatory sensation. But you will not feel it if you go to the side of that ball. Now color. Color is also completely different. It is black, that is like a molten gold. Action is also different. If anything or anybody touches it, it will burn of him. But a ball made of stone, iron, has not this quality. But if you set that iron-made ball in that fire, then it will deliver, it will acquire almost all the qualities of fire and deliver those qualities. But similarly, if that ball is further become detached, separated from fire, it will take his real shape. I guess clear?
Yes.
In this way, if any person of this universe, it is a very hard thing, can acquire that certificate from Gurudeva, to get the proximity of God, he will consider him, but his inner identity will not change. That will be lying in the same state. God will infuse some qualities of him in that highly, loudly lucky follower. But not all his qualities. A little part from his quality would be infused inside that follower, lucky follower. And not only that, he would be also provided with some advice by the Father of this universe, that you have to serve such and such purposes for the betterment of the human being. Understand? Being provided with some power of God and being provided with some advice, he will a service purpose as Vedas, as Narad, etc. So many characters are lying in Srimad Bhagavatam like this. Vedas was advised by Lord Govinda that you have to compose Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam.
He was a Shakti Avesh avatar.
18 Puranams are composed. हाँ खोलो I suppose the idea is clear to you.
Yes.
Understand? Figure it. Well, okay. The incarnation which is directly generated from Lord Krishna, that is divine incarnation.
Avatar.
Definitely. But this type of incarnation, its generation completely counts upon the pleasure of Lord Krishna. If you think you qualified in this way, that yes, if I provide him with some power of mind and with some advice and send him in the world, he would be capable of providing the people of the world with some betterment, egoistic betterment, not physical betterment, to not terrestrial betterment. God has several times of direct made incarnation described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, etc. avatar incarnation. Nrsimhadev, the combination of lion and human body. He is also incarnation, but not made of jiva. He is the direct incarnation of God. Understand? So several types of incarnation, direct incarnation made by Govinda. This information, this message was also undistributed before Gita. यदा यदा हि धर्मश्च ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मश्च तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशायस्तु दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. These verses are, in these verses, Krishna directly giving information to Arjuna about his several types of incarnations. This is the third principle. This is the third marvelous principle of Gita. That Gita first got us acquainted with the incarnations of several gods. Gita. You will never find this information, this report in Veda, in Upanishads, in samhita, etc. No. And the fourth traits or principles of Gita is this, that three wonderful, unmeasurable acts performed by Lord Krishna. It was also unfound, unheard, unseen. What is those misses? One is to generate the world. Second one is to maintain the existence of the world. Third one is destruction of the world. Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya in Bengali. These three things, names, was unheard, unfound in any scripture before Gita. Another fifth special principle or traits of Gita is this, that Gita is that first scripture where supreme authority of the universe, that is Lord Krishna, first displayed his Vishwarupa. I already described it before you, that there is nothing lying in this universe beyond the periphery of his capacity, power, etc. All were found. Everything of the universe was found in his boundless, endless body by Arjuna. That is very widely described in the 11th canto, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Even it was never found and imagined by Arjuna. And that is why surprised at the sight of that Rupa, that appearance. he could not find that where from it has started, and where it has terminated. Nachantor na bahirjasya na purvang na pichaparam purva parang vaistantar jagato to jagatchaya. It means a unmeasurable appearance, not possible for a human being to bring the idea of this robe in the heart. Only somewhat conception, idea you can gain from 11th canto of Gita. Endless, boundless, neither east nor west nor south, not north of that body. This appearance was displayed by Lord Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra before Arjuna. And further, a marvelous message take from me that Gita is the first scripture. The Gita is the first scriptures in the universe where it is found that God direct himself providing Arjuna and providing the human being with necessary theosophical advices. It was never found that God is appeared on the earth to provide her sons with necessary information and message and speech directly by himself. No. Many scriptures are lying, but they are written by hermits, monks, monastic followers, etc., etc. But Gita is the first scripture where Lord Krishna is supplying the world with some marvelous, wonderful message and information. Lord Krishna direct himself. It was never found ever and still not found after. This is the seventh principle, traits of Gita. Bhagavan uvacha. Bhagavan uvacha, it means Lord Krishna is telling in this way, these scriptures has been composed by Vedas. Vedas composed, but all the speeches as are found in Gita were directly delivered by Lord Krishna. And the eighth principle is this, that Gita is that very wonderful a religious scripture who got the world acquainted with this information, that who are lying in the divine, bearing the identity of deities, they are also mortal.
Devatas.
Devata. They are also mortal. Take a verse from me, taken from Gita, in support of this comment that Te tang bhuktva vishalang sarvalokam khine punne punamartalokam vishanti evang tri dharma manu prapanna kama lavanti, etc. A follower may turn himself to a deity by virtue of shradda, maximum. This is the maximum limit of shradda that he can grant you this scope to take birth in the divine as a deity, but not Vrindavan or Radha Krishna, etc. Those are far beyond their reach, from their reach. Only one thing is required, that is bhakti. Understand? This is the eighth information of Gita. One thing, you sent a message to my elder son yesterday night. You have used a particular word in your message, that everything under the sun is mortal and temporary. I've seen that. It is not fact. It is not completely true. It was a faulty comment. Everything under the sun is mortal. No. As we are discussing something over Krishna Katha, Hari Katha, Bhagavad Katha, this is immortal. This is perpetual. It does not die. And the time as it is being spared after the talk of Krishna, the God of death has no right, no power to seize this time. It is immortal. You are using your rosary, japa, lying in this mortal world, but this job is not mortal. Understand? And in support of this comment, further I am trying to get you acquainted with the verse taken from Bhagavad. Ayur harati vai pungsang mudannasta jannaso tashtarte jaksanonito uttama sloka vartaya. It means so long you will be able to get yourself engaged in explaining or hearing the Hari Katha or Bhagavad Katha or any Katha related to, closely related to Bhagavad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gita, etc. Only Lord Krishna is the authority of that time. He keeps this time, this period reserved for his follower. Hari Katha, Bhagavati Katha, Krishna Katha, and the name of Krishna even may provide a dying person with life, can provide him with life, such as, take some instances, Thakur Haridasa, when he was being tortured in a desperate, faithful, atrocious way, being ordered by their master, ruler, Muslim ruler, that so long he would be alive under the sun, you must not stop your weeping. At any cost, you have to kill him by faithful weeping. It is never possible for a human being to tolerate that type of torture. It was possible for Thakur Haridas, in spite of that torture, atrocities, he could keep himself alive. Why and how it was possible for him? Because at that time he was remembering the lotus feet of Sriman Mahaprabhu, shutting his eye earnestly. This thing is not mortal, but this happening event is done on the earth. But this event, the example of the life of Thakur Haridasa, that is not mortal. That thing, that message, it would be continued years after years till the last breath, till the doomsday of this world. And this message would be carried out by the scripture Chaitanya Charitamrita. Now Haridas Thakur has gone to the glory, but this event of him immortally lying, not only this, when we discuss, when we explain about the life of Thakur Haridas, that infiltrated our heart with energy. and develops some spiritual power, it is not mortal. Harikatha revitalize even a dying person. Take another example. When Lord Krishna went to Mathura, leaving Vrindavana behind. This separation between Krishna and Radha was continued for 100 years. A long passage of time, 100 years. That separation was continued. And at that time, being terribly struck by the agony of separation, Radharani was left to a dying state, yet she is eternally immortal. Radharani is a subject which is eternally immortal. But her condition was like a dying person. What thing kept him alive? Krishna Nama. All our friends, Lalita, Vishaka, Suchitra, Champakalata, Tungavidya, etc., etc. They were the very closer friend to her. Very slowly and in a very mild voice, they started to utter the name of Krishna. In support of this comment, further I am uttering a verse. Garhaluraga bharan nirvara bhanguraya Krishneti nama mudhuram mridu patayantva Ding mama dhanna mati chanchala jati doshat devya karam ruha kurapotastu tosmi. The name of Krishna. The name of Krishna was uttered by your friends, placing their mouth to the proximity of the ear of Radharani and singing with the name of Krishna. This is not mortal. King Parikshit, last day we had a chance to describe something over his life, his tragedy. It is already known to us that King Parikshit was implicated by a hermit boy, hermit's son.
Shringi.
Saumik, and his life was made limited within 7 days only. Thereafter, he must and shall take his final departure from this world. This was the kind of implication. But Gurudeva, Sukadeva Goswami declared there loudly that I am also prepared to test the power of that takshasa, that very venomous saying. And I shall show it. I shall show my power, spiritual power, to this assembly. Daksha could not bite him. But this is very essential for us to know. Most of the followers are known to this message that King Parikshit was at last killed, being beaten by that very venomous, dangerous snake, Takshaka. It is half true. It is half true, not complete true. If it was possible for Takshak to bite him and to take up his life, then Gurudev Sukadeva Goswami uttered the language that would prove false. I am desperately prepared to give you protection and to defend that Takshak. It was the word of Sukadeva Goswami. If Takshas was able to bite and kill him, then the word of Sukadeva Goswami Gurudeva, who is considered in Bhagavatam, you have heard, as the second image of Lord Shiva, then it could prove that he is a hypocrite. So you have to get yourself truly acquainted with the information, really what was happened. Suppose you are a master of your family and a dog is domesticated by you in your house. You have taken your seat to eat some breads. He is sitting before you, maintaining a distance. He has no right. He has no power to come to the side of your dish and take a bread from the dish with his mouth. No, he will never do so. He will be waiting when my master will throw a piece of bread. Then I will have a right to eat that. Otherwise, he will not dare. It will not dare. It will not take courage to sit beside you and to eat the bread as his master is doing. No. Only he may hungrily wait. He may wait hungrily to get a piece from his master. If his master grants him, throw a piece before him, then he would be able to take up the piece thrown by his master.
Just
after the total explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam, Gurudeva, Sukadeva Goswami told his follower that my beloved son, Parikshit, in your absence, you don't know that you have been promoted to the state of immortality. Now it is up to your pleasure. What shall you do? Parikshit very submissively submitted this dialogue before his Gurudeva, that whereas he was a very pious, a spiritual-hearted person, and that is why he told his Gurudeva that a Brahmin son of a hermit has imprecated me. I don't to violate his dignity, his gravity of imprecation. If it is done by me, later on, the people of the world will not render their service towards the Brahmins. And that is why I don't please to violate the imprecation. I don't please to violate the dignity of a Brahmin. Gurudev smiled at him. This dialogue of Sukadeva Parikshit proves that what a marvelous type of pious person he was. What kind of veneration, respect, dignity was lying in his heart for the Brahmin community. So he decided, Parikshit decided, I shall invite. His Gurudeva told him, to a follower, that my beloved child, take notice to that side. Taksas is waiting, but not taking courage, not daring to take entrance in this assembly, not taking courage to bite you and to kill you in presence of mine, in presence of your Gurudeva. Somewhat trembling sensation was developed in the body of Takshaka. Gurudeva Sukadeva Goswami directed the attention of his follower to that dangerously venomous snake that he is hungrily waiting at a distance from this assembly. Hungrily. But it was not being, and it will never be possible for him to expose his power here in this state, so long you will be staying to the proximity of my feet, and so long you will be able to get yourself engaged in hearing Hari Katha. Taksas is but a mere thing. Even his God, death God, he will be also failed from taking this effort to take up your life. Parikshit, he left her terrestrial body like a piece of bread as a master grants to the dog. And that is why Takshak was able to touch the body. But it did not create any bit of repercussion in the heart of Parikshit, because he has already got the taste of immortality. He has got the proximity of his Gurudev, a boundless store of boundless spiritual power attained from Srimad Bhagavatam. So, this was the type, the secret, this is the type of secrecy of his expiry. Intentionally. Voluntarily, Parikshit left his body. Yes, welcome. He invited the Takshak. Don't worry. I am ready to throw this body before you. Touch it. And thereafter, what was done with the inner identity and body, both of them, Gurudeva and his follower, that is Parikshit, appeared in Vrindavana. And Gurudev, Shukadev Goswami told her beloved, a follower, that what have you been heard from me? I have described, explained before you about Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I shall display that. Now I shall show you that. And in support of this comment, also further I am uttering a verse taken from Srimad Bhagavatam. Evam samdarsita jhanga harina vritta vashrata savasana api krishnena jassedam shestaram vase. Then, early in the morning, Lord Krishna, then he was but a child, was displaying his game as a child does in this age. Taking position in the lap of his mother, Yashoda. Shukadev Goswami invited the attention of Parikshit. Take notice. to this situation. That boy, that child, he was described, his life was described before you. This is that very Lord of ours. You are finding him in the shape of a child, but this child is the Father of the universe. Find it. How wonderfully, marvelously, lovely was the type of his play, etc., activities as a child. A big series of topic lying in Srimad Bhagavatam regarding his childhood. Very interesting, very marvelous, very striking. Gurudev Sukadev Goswami now started to show those things to his follower, beloved follower. Will you consider the expiry of Sukadev Parikshit as a person, as the mortal person of this world takes his expiry? Is that type of these two expiry is same? No. One is obtrusively done. Obtrusively means voluntarily, with a pleasure. Because I don't please to delay to go to the auspicious place that is Vrindavan, trampled, treated by Lord Krishna, Radharani, etc. So this body is creating interruption. That is why so early as possible I should leave it. He left his body up to his own pleasure. And his Gurudev Sukadev Goswami was very, very pleased at this act of his son, beloved son, follower, that he has done the right, and his intention proves that he does not care a little bit for death. The fear of death was totally expired from his heart. This is the type of relation between a guru and his follower.
And that is also immortal.
Immortal. This relation becomes started from on this earth.
By Diksha.
By Diksha, by being initiated by Diksha. But the total subject is immortal. Gurudeva and his follower, and Diksha mantra, and his starting of meditation followers. All these things are immortal. So, I hope I could clarify your somewhat defective and faulty conception, comment. It is not at all a matter. It happens in the life of every follower at the very beginning time, even many curiosities, many faulty conceptions, even was lying in my heart. After a long exercise of several scriptures, Gita, Bhagavad, Chaitanya, Charitamrita, etc., and being fertilized by the speech of Gurudeva, all those wrong ideas, little by little, was departed from my heart. So it is not a occurrence that you are the first person facing this type of wrong idea. No. Every newcomer on this line might have so many wrong ideas, and that is why it is necessary to get ourselves initiated, to clarify us, to purify us, to depart all the wrong conception, etc. To serve this serious purpose, essential purpose, we have to get ourselves initiated. I think I could clarify you. You may take a marvelous example further, like it. That is the life of Raghunath Das Goswami. What a terrific situation, fateful situation was lying in his surroundings. The sun god was scattering fateful, dangerous ray on his head. You know, the weather and environment of Vrindavan at the time of summer, after 9 in the morning, you will not be able to find even a dog on the street. So is the dangerous heat is felt in Vrindavan. But with a bare body, our Raghunath Das Goswami got himself deeply engaged in meditation over the feet of, and remembering the lotus feet of Radharani, where even a dog is not found on the street after 9, then how it was possible for Raghunath Das to digest, to bear the terrific heat of light, ray, sunlight? How it was possible? That subject is already described to you. So, this type of topics related to Lord Krishna, Radharani, etc. are immortal. but it takes place on the earth. Such as the leaf of a lily. Lily, do you?
A flower.
Huh?
This is a flower. Pushpa.
What? It develops only in the water. We have seen the leaf. It is lying on the water, but does not touch. Water cannot touch it.
It's also called lotus flower.
Huh?
It's also called lotus flower.
Not flower, I am telling about the leaf.
Yeah.
If you drop a few water on it, it will be rolling there. If a thrust of wind touch the leaf, the drop of water will be further rolled down on the water of the pond. No touch. It's a proverb. It's a proverb in a country, and our life is also like the same. Water on the leaf of a lotus. When it would be rolled down, will depart, is not known to us. It is described by Shankaracharya in the scripture named Moho Mudgar. Nalini Dalagata Nalini. The name of that leaf is Nalini. Nalini Dalagata Jalamati Taralam Tadbad Jivana Matishaya Chapalam. Dino Jaminno Sayam Prato Shishira Basanto Punurayata. Kala Kridati Gachatayus Tadapina Munchatasavayu. Katavo Kanta Kastavo Stanoyo Stiramoti Reton Mritimonu Ganoyo. Ahaha Kimadana Pashasi Maranam Tapapara Vrindavanam Yasaranam, etc. These verses are found in the scripture named Moho Mudgar, composed by Shankaracharya.
And in Sadhu Baba's Padyati. And also in our Gurudev's Nitya Karma Padyati. This song is also there.
We started with an intention to have some taste from Gita. All this explanation just have been delivered by me. It is not out of the message of Gita. In a descriptive way, all these matters, informations are described in Srimad Bhagavatam Gita. The first canto of Gita, the first canto of Gita is entitled with this name, Vishada Yoga. Vishada Yoga. Vishad means melancholia, depression, dejection.
Lamentation.
Arjuna was very terribly, very dangerously affected by melancholia. But not at the very beginning. He appeared on the battlefield and Krishna was the driver of his chariot. Know it. Krishna was the driver of his chariot. Once upon a time, in that battlefield, very proudly, Arjuna ordered Krishna bring the chariot to the mid line of the two sides army. First, let me see the total situation and circumstances of the battlefield and the position of the reputed warriors. And not only this, he uttered some language in a loud voice that today would be the doomsday of the opponent side of ours. The son of Dhritarashtra's 100 sons he had. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons, Duryodhana, Dushasana, etc. Arjuna told Krishna that bring the chariot to the mid of the field. I shall give this day necessary lesson to Arjuna, Duryodhana and his brothers. How audacity of them, they have taken courage to fight against me. I shall teach them good lesson. Very highly, loudly and proudly he uttered this language before Krishna. Krishna was completely silent. Did not deliver any response. As the driver of the chariot, once upon a time, he brought it to the mid of the field, battlefield. There, in one side was lying Kaurava, and another side Pandava. When the chariot was brought to the mid point or line of the battlefield, a sudden change introduced to him. A sudden change. Even a few moments ago, what was not found in him. He considered him as a great hero. And my power and experience of using weapons is sufficient to murder, to kill them in this battlefield. This was the type of his mentality even a few months ago. But now, when he was introduced to the mid of the battlefield, he directed his attention to the all sides of the battlefield. He saw that his brothers, nephew, his father-in-law, etc., etc. All are his relatives. Krishna Arjuna found them, and his attitude was totally changed. What a terrific, dangerous and unexpected thing is going to be happened. I am going to kill my brothers, Duryodhana, etc. was his brothers in relation. Not only that, so many persons, so many warriors are present there who are closely related with Arjuna, with the relationship of folkman. He began to feel a depression in his heart. His body was trembling, his total body was dressed up with sweat. Even he lost his power to catch hold the bow. With a mortifying sensation, with a terrific mental agony, he threw his bows and arrows to the feet of Krishna and told him, it is not possible for me to fight as a general against them who are my close relatives. Not possible. Even I am ready to lay down my life. Even I am ready to lay down my life, but I cannot be able to use my weapons to kill my Acharya, Dronacharya, Kripacharya. They are my most venerable Acharya. Bhishma Dev is our grandfather, etc. Is it possible for me to use my weapons to kill them? No, Krishna, excuse me, I am not ready to fight. My weapons, arrows, bows are being left to the side of your feet. I am not ready to fight. A terrific depression, dejection was appeared in his heart. If a person becomes left to the station, then what does do a people of the celestial world? What shall we do? Then and then we shall call for an ambulance to carry him to a hospital or nursing home or in the chamber of a reputed and experienced big doctor for treatment. But Krishna, no necessary. He told, no necessary. I shall revive him. I shall rejuvenate him. No need to call a doctor. No need to send him to any hospital or nursing home. I shall bring him to his normal state. He started to deliver his speeches to depart the melancholy or dejection from inside the heart of Arjuna, to fill up his heart with desperate energy. আর যে না করে থাকো তো করো না, কিন্তু ভেবে তো দুজনই আমরা না।
না করেছি, দাঁড়াও।
Those
धन्यवाद।
including all those speeches of Lord Krishna was compiled by Vedavyasa in the name of Gita. This is the starting ground of explaining Srimad Bhagavad-gita. This is the first preparation to take entrance into the heart of Gita. Mom, are you being able to bring into your understanding about what I say?
Yes.
No. Of course yes, because you are my mom. In the battlefield of, standing on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna,
It's good.
Krishna played the role of two bigger personalities. One is as a psychiatrist, doctor of mental problem.
Psychologist.
Another is, his another role was as a biggest master in this universe. It is not found in our terrestrial world that a person is bearing two diplomas at the same time as a desperately reputed doctor, and also at the same time he is also bearing the identity of a great master. But it is Lord Krishna who played this both role. Afterwards, later on, you may consider this topic as a prelude,
Introduction.
But this introduction is also containing very theosophically interesting text. However, later on, little by little, day after day, we shall try to collect some text, marvelous text, wonderful text from Gita. As a matter of fact, bitter fact, no scriptures is lying under the sun related to the word of Lord Radha Krishna and Lord Brahma Mahaprabhu, which has a limit. No. Life after life, if you continue to pay your attention to hear the topics of Srimad Bhagavatam, Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Radharani, Sudhanidhi, Vilap Kusumanjali, etc., it will never be possible for you to utter this language that I have completed. I could assimilate the total of the scriptures. No. Boundless, endless, limitless.
Eternal.
Now, for this day, let us give a rest to our auspicious topic let us wait for the topic of the coming day. We shall try to take some interest from Gita, being blessed by our Godfather, especially. Without the benediction of a Godfather, without the gracious look of Godfather, it is not even possible for Lord Krishna to redeem a person, to make successful the life of a follower. It is not possible even for Lord Krishna. Gurudeva, who has been able in his life to earn the sincere blessing of or benediction of Godfather, then all the remaining responsible personalities as Lord Krishna, Radharani, Mahaprabhu, our acharyas, etc., all they will smilingly shower their blessing on his head. When it will be proved to them that this person is this very submissive, obedient follower has been furnished with the benediction, blessing of his Gurudeva. Automatically, they will feel an urgency in their heart. Understand? Your attention is being diverted.
No,
Then my energy of explanation would be also diverted. At the very starting of the life of a sadhak, Gurudev is beginner. At the very ending of that sadhak, when he will be identified with his inner body, that is Manjari Sarup, and it would be brought to the proximity of lotus feet of Radharani. At that time also, Gurudev will stay beside you from beginning to end. Without the help of Gurudeva, who will brought you to the lotus feet of Radharani? Who will get you acquainted and introduced to Radharani? Gurudev. Also, he has a Manjari body in her. in Siddha Dasha, Siddha state, as your body would be changed, terrestrial body would be left, and inner body, that is Manjari, would be generated. At the same time, at the same moment, you will see that your Gurudev is also standing beside you with his Manjari body to bring you and to tribute you to the lotus feet of Radharani, to get you acquainted with Radharani. Gurudev, with his Manjari Sarup, serves this purpose. This everlasting glamour, fragrance, beauty, full flower. Please, Radharani, accept. Please do accept him. I am getting her dedicated, getting her tributed to the lotus feet of yours as your eternal partner. But piece of very bad luck, in that booklet it is very tangibly written that all the relations between Gurudev and his follower become ended after attaining of Siddha Deha. No link, no connection, no relation will stay. What a wonderful stupidity. How it would be possible for you, yet you have attained your Manjari Vigraha. In spite of that, would it be possible for you to make yourself so ungrateful? You will be lying beside Radharani as a Manjari. Stupid. Gurudev also will lying there. Gurudev is also lying there, will be lying there as a Manjari. Whereas you have attained now your Manjari body, so will you display this type of manner that no, our relation is no more, whereas now I have attained Manjari Vigraha. So you need not maintain any relation with me. Can you imagine what a terrific type of audacity and idiocy? What says Bila Kushmandoli? Both the Manjari bodies of Guru and his follower, Tulsi Manjari, identity, spiritual identity of Raghunath Das Goswami. And Rupa Manjari is the spiritual inner identity is Rupa Manjari. Both of them have attained their Manjari body. And what was happened between them, you have heard. It goes without saying that the relation between Guru and Dev in that state would be more closer, because it is not possible to stay beside your Gurudev, to give your presence before your Gurudev for all the while, always. Not possible. Someone is lying in Switzerland, some follower is lying in Russia, some follower is lying in Great Britain, maintaining a great distinction. Whensoever they find a chance, they come. But when both the followers and Gurudeva would be able to attain their Manjari Vigraha, then both of them will be constantly lying beside and to the proximity of Radharani. No power is lying under the sun in the universe to create distinction. Are you being able to consider it as a reasonable idea? The conception as it is being delivered before you regarding the type of relation between Gurudeva and his follower. Just the conception which has been delivered before you right now. Clear?
Yes.
Even me, Gurudeva is lying in the hermitage, I am lying here. A distinction is lying between us. But when attaining the Manjari body, you will be able to go to the proximity of Radharani. My Gurudev is also a Manjari. And the mission of all the major Manjaris are one. To keep them present to the proximity of Radharani and to render service according to his pleasure. So how it would be possible? Who would be that mighty person in the universe to create distinction? Then would be the distinction happening this way, that when my Gurudev will stay beside Radharani with his Manjari body, I shall not stay there. When I shall be able to stay beside Radharani as her eternal partner with my Manjari body, Gurudev will not stay there. Is it? Always, constantly, day and night, both the follower and Gurudeva will be staying beside Radharani. and the relation what was first started lying in the terrestrial atmosphere, the relation on the contrary, the relation would be more and more closer, inseparable